Good morning. So today we're going to start an OET letter this week. It is a transfer letter following the discharge of a patient. Let us see the letter. The patient is Miss Jane La Pagila. And for the exam, when you get the letter, what do? You immediately go to the writing task and read what is in the writing task, isn't it? And then go back to the beginning of the letter. So straight away we're starting off. So can I have someone to read the writing task for me?
You are the charge nurse on the medical ward.
You are the charge nurse on the medical ward.
Samantha?
It's okay. Yes,
I think let Sonia begin and then you can take over. Okay,
all right.
Sonia begin.
Writing task. You are the charge nurse on the medical ward where Pagila has spent most of her hospital stay as a patient. Using the information in the case note, write a referral letter to the charge nurse at Veronia Nursing Home, Kugi, where Miss
At the end of the letter, what charge nurse, isn't it? So when you get in the letter for the exam, when you get the question paper, please make a note of all these so that it is easy for you to identify the title. And that when you get the question paper. On the medical ward, where Miss La Pagila has spent most of her hospital stay as a patient, which means she's already been there in this hospital for quite some time. And you are the charge nurse in that medical ward. Now, what do we have to do? Using the information in the case, you have to write a referral letter to charge nurse at Boronia Nursing Home. Here we know that she is admitted in the medical ward. Now she's going to be transferred after discharge to Boronia Nursing Home, Kugi, where Miss Lapagila will be discharged to from your ward. Which means once she's discharged from the hospital, she will be transferred to Boronia Nursing Home. And we are writing to the charge nurse there. Did you all understand the background?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now let's go back to the letter. So when reading the letter, you always have to have this home care in mind and only selecting information what is required there. Okay. Now, can I have someone to read the note from the notes till the first page? You can read it, but when you read it, make it sure that you read it slow and loud. Samantha, you can carry on.
Okay. Name Miss Jane La Paglia, age 71, cultural and religion data, Italian and Catholic, speak fluent English. Admission date 4th March 2011, Prince Albert Hospital. Discharge date 28 April 2011. Diagnosis renal failure, second degree to dehydration, mild dementia, pneumonia. Social medical secondary. Okay. Secondary to dehydration, mild dementia, pneumonia. Social medical family, lives with 80-year-old husband, carer, Joe, in a 4-bedroom unit. Joe not coping with patient or his own care needs. House filthy. Both have poor hygiene and nutrition. One son, Andrew, a mechanic, visit Tuesday and Sunday. Interest includes classical music, ballet, and AFL. Medical history and medication. See doctor's notes to be forwarded.
Okay. Now, can I have someone else to read it for me? Just the management part alone.
Management and progress during hospitalization. Initially comatose, ventilated in ICU 7/7, given dialysis 3/52, which decrease urea and creatinine, stable now. Hospital acute pneumonia 2/24, chest physiotherapy for 2/52, still requiring O2, 2 liters via nasal prongs, but non-effective for 3/52.
Non-effective, non-infective.
Non-infective. Increased confusion post ICU, but now back to usual mild level and is quite settled. Needs prompting to eat, drink, dress, walk, toilet, and tend to personal hygiene, but can independently do these. Family Conference 25/3/2011 consensus decision. Patient will move to nursing home and Joe will be adjoining hostel. Nil beds for either till 28/4/2011. Discharge plan.
Okay.
Transfer
Yeah.
to nursing home. Husband will live in hostel next door. Both accepting of this continue autotherapy as per oxygen saturation. Encourage independence. Patient capable of self-care with 2+ prompting. Ensure adequate hydration to prevent decreased renal function. Repeat electrolyte, urea and creatine blood test weekly.
Okay. So this is the letter. So I will just explain the whole thing once again. The name of the patient is Jane Lapagila. She's 71 years old. And cultural and regional data. Religion data. She's Italian Catholic, speaks functional English. Functional English in Arthana. What do you mean by functional English? Means she knows basic English used in the day-to-day situation. This is what they mean by the functional English. When one person knows how to use a language in day-to-day situations. That's it. Diagnosis renal failure due to secondary to dehydration, which means due to dehydration, mild dementia, then pneumonia. Social medical family lives. This Jane Pagila lives with an 80-year-old husband who is a carer also, who is her carer, and her husband's name is Joe, and they live together in a 4-bedroom unit. Joe not coping meaning not adjusting with patients or his own care needs. What do you mean by that? The patient is, this husband does not adjust with the patient, nor does he take care of his own needs. I'm just using a little bit of Malayalam. Here, what I mean is, the patient this husband patient പോലും നോക്കാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല, തന്നെ ഇയാളുടെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് പോലും നോക്കാൻ ഉള്ള ഒരു അവസ്ഥയിലല്ല നമ്മൾ. Then house filthy. Filthy means not clean. Both of them, meaning both the husband and wife has poor hygiene and nutrition. Okay. They have one son, Andrew, who's a mechanic. He visits only twice a week. That is on Tuesday and Sunday. Interests include classic music, ballet, and AFL. AFL relates to football. Medical history and medication. See doctor's notes to be forwarded. Medical management and progress during hospitalization. Here they say how his situation was when he came to the hospital, what was given in the hospital, all that will be there. Okay. And all the management that took place during the period of hospitalization. Initially comatose, meaning initially he was in a state of coma, and for which he was ventilated in the ICU for 7 days, a week. 7/7 meaning 7 days for a week. Given dialysis 3/52. Here, what do you mean by that? 52 refers to, there are 52 weeks in a year. So which means 3/52 refers to 3 weeks out of 52 weeks. Did you all understand? Which reduced urea and creatinine. So thereby the patient's condition is stable now. Then during his stay in the hospital, he got pneumonia. He acquired pneumonia. So for that, what was done? 2 out of 24. Here, 24 refers to 24 hours. Within a span of 24 hours, for 2 hours, he was given chest physiotherapy. For 25 out of 52, what do you mean by that? For 2 weeks. No, 2 weeks out of 52 weeks, which means he was given chest physio for 2 hours in 24 hours time for 2 weeks. Clear?
Okay,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah. Still requiring. ഇപ്പോഴും ആവശ്യമായിട്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. Oxygen 2 liters through nasal prongs, but he has been non-infective for the past 3 weeks. Nola. 3/52 meaning he has been non-infection. There is no infection for the past 3 weeks. Is so much clear with you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And now there's increased confusion post ICU. After he's been discharged, he's moved to the ICU. He's got this confusion, but now back to usual mild level and is quite settled. Now his condition is quite stabilized. That is what they say. But still, he requires need prompting. Prompting meaning forcing. To eat, drink, dress, walk, toilet, and tend to personal hygiene. That means okay, he tries for personal hygiene, but can independently do these. He's capable of doing these, but he requires prompting. So, because of all this, what happened? A family conference was held on 25th 3/11, where a consensus, meaning decision was made, where and what was decided by the family through the family conference, that the patient will move. അതായത് move ചെയ്യുന്നതായിരിക്കും. It is future tense. It does not happen, it will happen. To nursing home, and husband Joe will live in adjacent hostel. It means this husband will be staying in a hostel just adjacent to this nursing home. Nil beds for either. രണ്ടു പേർക്കും beds ഇല്ല till 28/4/11, which means beds are not available for them till 28/4/11. Is so much clear with you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. The discharge plan says what is to be done. This transfer to nursing home. That is why we are writing to the nursing home, isn't it? So you don't have to write that in particular. Husband will live. It's future tense in hostel next door. Both accepting of this, which means both have accepted this and agreed to that. And this patient is to get continuously oxygen therapy as per the oxygen saturation of the patient. Encourage independence, which means he has to be prompted to do things independently. Patient capable of self-care, which means he is capable of taking care of himself with increased prompting. Prompt if there is someone pushing him from the back, definitely he is capable of doing all this. Ensure to make sure that this patient is adequately hydrated to prevent decreased renal function or to stabilize the renal function. And again, they are to repeat the electrolyte, urea, and creatinine blood every week, test weekly. So can I ask you, so did you understand what this letter means? I hope I've explained it clearly. Now your next job is, I want you to figure out and tell me what information should be included in this letter. So now our next, once we understand what the letter is, our next task is to select the information. What is important, what is semi-relevant, if any, and then what is irrelevant. I want your help. I don't want you to read the whole sentence. Instead, if you can just read the beginning or the subheadings, that would be better. Okay, tell me.
Name.
Sylvia, tell me. Yeah.
Name.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. John Lapagat.
You don't have to read that. You just give me the heading, name. Yes, that is important.
Name.
Yeah.
And, admission date.
Mm-hmm.
And hospital name.
Hospital name not necessary. Hospital name not, you don't usually write it. But of course, the admission date is important. Discharge date is important. Okay, carry on.
Diagnosis.
Can I have some others to join in also? Diagnosis, yeah.
Diagnosis. She lives with her 80-year-old husband. Joe is not coping to take care of her. Then she has a son who visits them twice a week.
Why? Okay, can I ask you? Can I stop you? Why
Yes,
do we
ma'am.
have to write that information? Because anyway, is not of help to the family. So, do you think that is important to write here? He just visits.
No.
That's it.
Okay,
No.
ma'am.
Okay,
I don't think interested includes, it's not relevant.
it is not necessary.
Medical history and medication, it's not given yet, so we don't have to mention.
Yeah, that is not enough. Anyway, usually the doctor's notes will be forwarded.
Mm,
So you don't have to make a special note of that.
note,
Okay.
yes. Okay.
Next one.
So the initially comatized, we need to add. Then he was given dialysis also, we need to add.
What about the ventilated in ICU? Let's go step by step, because here there's a lot of confusion as to what should be selected. So initially comatose, that should be selected. What about the
Comatized,
ventilated?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I don't think it is important because it is over now, ma'am. It is completed.
You can keep this as semi-relevant. There's no harm in writing that. Because
Okay,
you always have to bear in mind that you have to complete the word limits, no?
okay, ma'am.
That is also important. So something that is not harmful, it's fine if you write it for the sake of completion of the word limit.
Okay.
Mm.
Then he was given dialysis, also we should mention, and
Mhm.
which decreased is urea and creatinine. Then we also have to mention the hospital acquired pneumonia, which is very important, and he's been treated with chest physiotherapy twice a week, and he still requires oxygen, is also
What?
important.
Excuse me. So he
Yes,
still
ma'am.
requires oxygen, meaning he was along with chest physiotherapy was given oxygen initially.
No, ma'am.
Yeah. Then why do you say still requires, which means he, along with chest physiotherapy was also given oxygen, which again still this which is to continue.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That goes without saying.
Okay, ma'am.
Mm.
It was, I think we need to put even this not infective as well. He did not acquire any other infections.
That see, since he did not acquire any other infection, you don't have to write that. But you
Okay,
can write he was given oxygen, he still requires oxygen through nasal prongs. I think till there is important.
okay,
Since it is not in no, there's no infection, you don't have to write there's no infection. Omit
okay,
that.
okay.
Yeah. The next one.
He still has the uh, mild level and is quite settled usually.
My level
He
of
still
what? He's confused.
confusion. He still
Hmm.
has my level of confusion. Also, we should
Yeah.
mention. And importantly, we need to
Yeah.
put things
You
needs.
missed one thing. You missed one thing. He's got mild confusion and is quite settled. So
Okay,
you have
ma'am.
to also say that he's quite settled. His condition is stabilized. That is important.
Okay,
Though he has mild confusion, he is quite settled. Can't you say that way?
okay, ma'am.
Mm.
Then needs prompting to eat, drink, dress, walk, toilet, and tends to personal hygiene, but can independently do these things. Also, we should mention. And
So should you mention all these: eat, dress, walk, toilet, all that?
you
Should
can
you
just
sum
put
up saying
acute
that?
this one daily living activities.
Yeah, activities to
Activities.
those daily activities. That is fine.
Mhm.
Mm.
Uh, then family because of this they had a family conference which was on the 25th of 3rd 2011, so they have decided to move the patient to a nursing home, and Joe will be living, and we also should mention about Joe will be living in the adjoining hostel, so there is no beds until, but I don't know whether we should mention that, ma'am,
And you can say that.
because
Yeah.
it's relating to her husband, right? So should we say those things?
No, no, need beds for either, both of them. So we have to say that.
Okay. Then husband will live in hostel next door, that we are already mentioning
Mm-hmm.
both of this. Then continue oxygen therapy also we'll be mentioning. Full of self-care. We also going to mention this because initially I've said that he needs prompting for personal hygiene. So self-care also we are going to mention. Then ensure adequate hydration, which is very important. We should mention that. And even about the blood test, also we should mention, which has to be taken weekly.
Yeah. So that encourage and independence also should be there. Okay. So this
Okay.
is what I thought was important. Can you all see this? Did you all see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Second page, I thought these were important. Okay.
Okay. ma'am.
Now that the selection of notes are over, now what is the next step? You have to have an idea as to how you'll be writing, isn't it? You have to have a model before you start writing. So how do you? We just plan the paragraphs, okay? I think that is also a good way of planning. So initially, after all these address and the salutation and all, you write the introduction, isn't it? Then what do you write in the next
Yes,
paragraph? What can be written? See, since this is a new case, we'll be transferred new to this nursing home, isn't it? So it is good to say about the current situation, what happened in the hospital. So I think let's talk about the admission first, and then immediately admission. What can you write? You can just write that on March 4th, 2011 was admitted, isn't it? And then what do you say? For the cohesion, there should be connection. Then you immediately say, talk about the management and progress during hospitalization, which means the events that took place during the period of hospital stay. Is that clear?
Okay, ma'am.
yes, please.
So the second paragraph, as a situation and the assessment together, we write the date of the admission, then we say what happened during the hospital stay. So is it clear what you write in the first and the second paragraph?
First paragraph, admission. Second is
No,
current
no, no, no. No. First paragraph, as usual, we write the introduction only. That
introduction.
is understood. And then second paragraph, we start with the situation and the assessment. That is the date of the admission and then what happened during the hospital stay. So now what is left? We have to write about the background
Social.
also, isn't it? Social
Yes.
background.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So we write that. See, along with the social background, we can also mention that towards the end, probably we can mention about this conference that took place. Okay. Where a decision was made to transfer the patient. That is also fine. So you add, along with that, you write the situation. Along with B, you write S also. Is bar, and when we follow this bar, along with the background, we also write the current situation. This is all for the cohesion purpose. Clear?
Okay, ma'am.
And then what is left out? Then what is left out? Only the plan, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
That we write towards the end. See, students, don't you think when we plan like this in advance and then begin to write the letter, don't you think that is better for you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. എപ്പോഴും നിങ്ങൾ പരീക്ഷയ്ക്ക് എഴുതുന്ന മുമ്പ് എങ്ങനെ എഴുതും ഏതൊക്കെ പാരഗ്രാഫിൽ എഴുതും എന്ന് പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്യുന്നതല്ല എന്നിട്ട് എഴുതുക save a lot of time and a lot of mistakes also. Okay, now coming to the address part, I want you all to give me and I will be passive and you all be active. Tell me the address part. What's the address?
Charge nurse.
See, when you say
Boronia.
charge nurse, be very specific and clear. Is the charge nurse necessary or
Charge
just charge
nurse,
nurse?
Boronia
The
nursing.
the charge nurse.
The charge nurse.
Charge
That is very
nurse.
important. Let's be very clear.
The charge nurse. Boronia nursing home. Koji. Then
What's the date?
today's
What's the date?
when can you,
28
Mm.
April 2011.
Yeah, 20. That is a discharge date, isn't it? So we write that date. Clear. Now,
Dear sir bar madam. Or dear
no, actually, you're right. Dear
nurse,
nurse is fine, isn't it?
dear nurse, comma,
Mhm.
re Mrs. Jane Lapanglia, aged 71.
So, what do you write in the introduction?
I am writing to transfer Mrs. Lapagia, who has been. A minute, ma'am. Can I see the starting note?
please show the starting the other page, no?
I am writing to transfer Mrs. Lapagia, who has been diagnosed with renal failure. She requires She requires.
Yeah, there's nothing mentioned. These requires continued care. That is what
Yeah,
that's what
she
you can say.
requires continued. She requires your esteem. No. She requires continued care and
Continued.
follow-up.
Okay. Can I have someone else to discuss this for me?
Mrs. Lapagalia requires your assistance and continuity of care following her discharge today. Following
Okay, following a
renal failure
discharge.
following her renal failure secondary to that should be written secondary to dehydration.
Yeah, that is enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would also say a better way of saying would be, see, this person is being discharged, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, doing her condition is improved. Is the condition stabilized?
Recovering, you can say.
Yeah. Why do you all say that what did you all say before?
Diagnosed, I said.
Yeah. See, after the diagnosis, they always tell in all the letters. When a person is being discharged, and if he is going for the better, if his condition is stabilized, you can say he is recovering, especially at the time of discharge. Okay. So I would say you can also say another way of writing is put the patient's name first and then the purpose, and we can talk about the diagnosis and then about the discharge. Miss La Pegila requires, you can write the purpose. Continued care and management at your service. Here, at your service refers to the nursing. As Karanam, she is recovering from renal failure secondary to dehydration. Full stop. Then, as the next sentence, you can write, she is being discharged today. Did you all get me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I shall share the screen. This is the address part. Then this is the first introduction. This is my way of introduction. You can also write. I'm writing to refer Miss Lapagila, who requires your continued care. If you write your continued care and management, don't write at your service. Cut off. I'm writing to refer Miss Lapagila, who requires your continued care and management, as she is recovering from renal failure secondary to dehydration. This is also another way of writing. Did you understand?
Yeah.
Yes,
Clear with
ma'am.
everyone? Yeah. And so since he's being discharged today, you can make a note of that also. Please remember the mistake that can come here is all of you all say she has been diagnosed. But when a patient, especially for the discharge letter, the patient's condition is better, please write as she's recovering from. Clear? So the introduction part is over. Now what did I ask you all to write in the second paragraph? We can talk about the admission, isn't it? When was she admitted? Parno, can come and help me with the second paragraph?
Mrs. Lapagalia was admitted on 4th March 2011.
Yeah, then let's see what happened during hospitalization. Say this.
On admission, she was in a comatose state.
Or you can say she was in a state of coma.
Okay. On admission, she was in a state of coma, for which she was started with ventilator.
Or you can say she was supported with ventilator. That is a better way of saying, isn't it?
Okay, for which she was supported with the ventilator for 7 hours.
See,
7
days. Here, 7 by 7 refers
Continuous, we can
7
write.
days.
in a week.
7 days.
In a week.
7 days a
So-
week.
So we can write continuous for a week.
Why
1
did I
week.
did to write acting
1 week.
continuous?
Okay.
Get
For 1 week.
ventilated
For
for
1
7
week.
days.
She was supported with ventilator.
She
In
was
ICU for 1
ventilated
week.
for 1 week.
Along with
Next.
dialysis.
Mm.
Along with dialysis
For 3 weeks.
3 weeks, and
See, let's not write it together. You can write it in the next sentence. She was also Given
Dialyzed.
dialysis. Continue. For
Somebody
how
can
many weeks? For how many weeks was she given dialysis?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks per
Yeah.
3 weeks.
So what happened to situation after that?
very
In
dull,
which
fancy.
her urea and creatinine
Was it
Improved,
stabilized?
Improved
became
her renal.
stable.
it improved the urea and creatinine levels.
No. Instead of saying that, you can say her creatinine
Renal
and
function.
creatinine and urine level
Renal
were
profile.
stabilized. And then what?
She had
And she
hospital acquired
developed
pneumonia
Yeah.
she developed hospital acquired pneumonia.
for which chest physiotherapy 2 weeks given along with oxygen support.
Initiated.
Oxygen therapy.
Continue. Chest for physiotherapy given is wrong. Chest for physiotherapy. Chest
Were
physiotherapy
initiated.
was given. Nalgapettu was given. That is the right grammar. Okay.
Currently, she still requires oxygen support with nasal sprongs.
Okay. Good. Continue.
She was confused in ICU, but
No.
now her
Post ICU. Post ICU.
but now her level of consciousness is improved.
See, now the next thing is need prompting, but she can do independently in the day. So how do you write it?
She needs prompting.
She
She
needs
can do her
encouragement with her daily
activities.
living activities.
Yeah, that is also fine. You can say that she is capable of doing activities, though she requires prompting, which should be encouraged.
Despite capability of doing independent activities, she still requires encouragement. Something like
That is a little harder way of saying. I think we can make it a little more lighter. Okay. Okay. Okay.
She's
Anyway,
capable of
you all
doing
attempted.
her
That's good. Now
activities.
let's come to the family conference. How do you all say that? Yeah. So actually, that is enough, no? In this
Yes, that we
paragraph,
can
that
write
is enough.
third paragraph.
Yeah. Good. So I will also help you with that. Look at the case note. I'm going to say, how do you begin the situation? How do you begin the second paragraph? You'll say,
She lives
on admission, 4th March 2011, Miss La Pagila was in a state of coma and was supported with ventilator for 1 week. Was supported with ventilator in ICU for 1 week is also okay. Dialysis was performed for 3 weeks in the to stabilize urea and creatinine levels. While in hospital or during her time in care, anything can be written, okay? Either while in hospital, alangila during her time in care, which means during the period of hospitalization, comma, she acquired pneumonia for which, she was initiated with oxygen and chest physiotherapy. However, put a semicolon, however, she still requires 2 liters of oxygen through nasal prongs. We can say, even though she developed confusion post ICU, post ICU session, confusion on diarinum, she is now settled, and is capable of doing her activities independently, which needs to be encouraged, though she requires prompting. I'll explain this in Malayalam also. Even though she developed confusion post ICU, confusion on she is now settled, and is capable of doing her activities. All activities independently, which needs to be encouraged. Though she requires prompting. Prompting Is it clear? Did everyone read that? Shall I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So now what is left? Check the letter. See, once we've written everything, we have to check what is left out. Now we finished the main thing. Now we have to talk about the social and medical family that is left out. The next page and what is left out? Only the plan, isn't it? And also about the
Yes, ma'am.
conference part. There only Lila. So now let's talk about the background. We decided earlier, background in the family conference. So along with the background, we can write about the situation also. Currently, what is happening? Can one of you help me?
Mrs. Lapanglia lives with her husband, Mr. Joe. He is not coping with his wife.
Don't write it like a short story, okay? Concise and just write the main points. Okay, try. Okay, someone come forward. After that, what do you write? Let's talk about the family conference, isn't it? So what do you say? Where did you end?
During the
Who's not?
family meeting, they decided
No.
this
Wait. Where did you stop? Who's not capable? That is where you stopped, right? You can say,
Yes, ma'am.
അതുകൊണ്ട് ഒരു family conference നടത്തി എന്ന് പറയും. Therefore, isn't it?
Therefore, on
Yeah, continue.
5/3/2011, family meeting family meeting
Was held.
was held, for which decision on transferring to nursing home was decided.
Here, I think you have to mention the name of the husband also because they live together, no? And he is also to be mentioned. And you can say that Mr. Joe will also move to an adjacent hostel. That has to be mentioned, okay?
Okay.
Because since they're together and they are dependent. So it is okay. So I'll give my version of that. So third paragraph, how do you write? Let's see how can you write it in a very concise way? And say, Miss La Pagela lives with her 80-year-old husband who finds it difficult to not coping up in the who finds it difficult to take care of their needs. Who are the two? One is his own needs and the next is the wife's needs, isn't it? So Miss La Pagela lives with her 80-year-old husband who finds it difficult to take care of their needs. Then you can say about the concludes. Therefore, a family conference was held. Family conference hold chedu, in which a decision to transfer Miss La Pagela to your service and Mr. Joe to the adjacent hostel was made. See, you can read it. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we have only the plan left, isn't it? Now, the first two things you don't have to write because anyway we are writing to the nursing home. And a husband will live next door. It is already mentioned, isn't it? How do you all write it? Tell me. Come, let's not waste time. It would be appreciated. Come.
It would be appreciated if you could assist Miss La Pagela with her daily living activities and kindly ensure continue oxygen therapy as per and
Why do
kindly
you have to say that? Daily activities, that is not to be mentioned here. Okay. You don't have to mention that. Because patient is capable of self-care. It's very mentioned that patient is capable of doing this activity. So you don't have to say anything in general like that, but just come to the point. You can continue. You start off with the oxygen therapy initially. It would be appreciated if you could say, come to the task.
It would be appreciated if you could initiate oxygen, if you could continue oxygen therapy for Miss La Pagela.
Encourage her to take adequate hydration.
According to a saturation chart, this should be mentioned, okay?
Okay.
And for oxygen saturation, that should be mentioned. Then Arthavara.
It would also be beneficial if you could ensure adequate hydration level to prevent renal decrease renal function.
The better way of saying is
Kindly
for prop,
To restore.
it should be kindly
restore.
ensure proper hydration. Yeah, to normal for normal
Restore.
renal function or to restore
function.
normal renal function.
Renal function. Kindly note that kindly note that electrolytes, urea, and creatinine blood tests are to
Blood
be
test is
repeated.
done.
So when you, I think you use a lot of kindly. So I think we can use it different phrases like you can say start in a simple way. You can start like this. It would be appreciated if you could continue oxygen therapy according to her saturation. Isn't that easy?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
let's write it very simple. അടുത്തത്. How do you say? Kindly ensure കണ്ടോ? Proper hydration. എന്തിനു വേണ്ടി? For normal renal function. Don't you think there is an easy way of writing? Then you can say it is important to repeat electrolyte, urea, and creatinine blood test weekly. I think you can write in a very simple way like this instead of complicating it. Okay. Again, when you write the plan, don't always write kindly. So instead, you use different phrases like it would be appreciated, kindly ensure, it is important. So I think if you have a list of that itself, it will be easy for you.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, I think you have to prepare it, okay? Kindly ensure it's
Okay.
important. And he requires, she is required, all that. You have a list of phrases that will be nice. So after that, how do you end it? So now we've completed the letter. Let's go check. Have you written everything in this page?
And that
Well,
point
it
is
is not.
to, it may not
Yes,
be
ma'am.
written that encourage her to take
Dementia and pneumonia.
self-independence.
You don't have to write that. See, have you mentioned out anything? Have you left out anything? Sorry.
Encourage independence patient. That is not
Hmm.
required.
Yeah, that actually I didn't you see that? Even though she developed confusion post ICU, she is now settled and is capable of doing her activities independently. Then I took the plan, which needs to be encouraged, though she requires prompting. That is how I said. Clear?
Yes,
See, I've
ma'am.
added all this together, I said. Needs prompting,
Okay.
encourage independence. I've written that together. Okay, so now that is over. How do you all end it? Once you complete,
Please,
what do you write?
please
If you have,
contact me for further queries if any.
Hmm.
Yours faithfully.
please feel free to contact me.
Yours faithfully, what do you write?
Charge nurse.
Charge nurse. To be appreciated. Can write this.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I have by error. This is an error. It's not registered nurse. Without knowing, I have written it. Excuse me. It should be charge nurse. It is right because all nurses are registered nurses. So if there's something special, especially mentioned like charge nurse, it is good to write charge nurse. So please correct that. If you have any queries, please do not hesitate to contact me. Yours faithfully, registered nurse. Sorry, charge nurse. Is that clear with everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, please show the recommendation paragraph.
Can you all see?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I change?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you all.